Yeah, it's really important we keep below 2 degrees Celsius of average warming. Otherwise, the consequences are going to be devastating.
Fox News is holding a town hall with Starbucks founder Howard Schultz. Now, they do this thing where they go into different diners and ask people how they feel about various issues, to act like, they're talking to just the average American about how you feel about whatever policy. So in this case, they're asking people at this diner about what they want to see from Howard Schultz. Now, this video, so it starts off with two conservatives that are just completely vacuous, but then they get to a third guy who's this younger guy, clearly a progressive, who basically schools Fox News on the Green New Deal. Watch.
Obviously, a lot of opinions here in the Missouri, Kansas area. That's why Howard Schultz is here. But we're going to get a preview of some of those opinions right now. We begin with David. David, he works in construction. He says it really frustrates him when all these individuals, politicians, say there's no problem at the border, but then they don't go to the border. Why does that bother you?
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating when you have politicians up in San Francisco, New York, D.C. saying, oh, there's no crisis at the border, yet you have every Border Patrol agent, commissioner of the Border Patrol saying, we have a problem down here, we need help down here, and obviously they don't care. That's pretty frustrating as an American.
David, thank you. Ben, similar thoughts. Ben is pretty fired up about his business of construction. Both of these guys work in construction, and he says immigrants are vital to the construction business. They just have to come the right way. Why do you say that?
Well, that's right. Hispanic immigrants in particular are a very big part of the labor force in general. Nobody should be judged or discriminated about where they're from or who they are, but it's predicated upon them becoming legal citizens the right way.
Ben, thank you. Jack is an info specialist, and he really wants Howard Schultz to talk about climate change, specifically the Green New Deal, which you support. Why do you support it?
Yeah, it's really important we keep below 2 degrees Celsius of average warming. Otherwise, the consequences are going to be devastating.
How do we pay for it?
Yeah, how do we pay for World War II? At the end of the day, when something is this important, our economy is going to suffer if we don't pay for it.
Okay, but you do agree with the sentiment that this is as big a deal, climate change that is, as World War II.
Yeah, I mean, a little over 400,000 Americans died in World War II, and climate change is killing 150,000 people per year at least.
Okay, let's talk about the money, because that's a huge part of this. How are we going to pay for it?
Yeah. So during World War II, for one thing, the government just pushed some of the cash up front and raised some tax on some folks. But at the end of the day, it stimulated the economy so much that everyone benefited.
Okay, so to review, you are in favor of raising taxes in order to support the Green New Deal.
If that's the optimal solution the economists sort out, I'll go with that.
Jack, thank you for your time. And finally, Verlin, he works in insurance. And Verlin, you say you pray for the president every night. Why?
Because my wife and I do, because because I don't know how he takes what he takes.
All right, I left that last one in there just for laughs, because again, it's showing you that this poor kid is squeezed in between these three just completely empty people. Now look, I don't know these people. I'm sure they're generally nice people, but when immigration is your biggest issue, I mean, it shows you that they have just been completely consumed by this phony conservative narrative. And the first guy talking about, how these politicians haven't gone to the border. There are countless progressive and Democratic politicians that have gone to the border. So again, these people are just getting their talking points from Fox News. But then Jack comes and saves the day. And the reason I think this video is so important is because, look, this gives us hope. This shows us that, yes, in fact, the electorate is being educated. This is something that people should not lose sight of. So it's so easy to get lost in all the negativity and just the countless negative stories on all the negativity in terms of what the Trump administration is doing. But remind yourself that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Now, that doesn't mean you should all just sit back and just, stop doing anything and just assume that everything's going to work out. No, get involved, try and change minds, try to do something. But understand here that there is hope. And when it comes to clips like this is the kind of thing that motivates me. I don't get motivated by terrible people on whether it's in politics or on television. I get motivated by seeing people that are informed and that have the potential to change minds. Now, I want to show you actually a similar clip. So this one I saw a few weeks ago, but I didn't get to do a story on it. This is Bryant Young, also known as the Young Burner on Twitter, and he had a similar kind of appearance on Fox News.
The overwhelming majority of Americans support Bernie Sanders' platform, and that 70% of Americans support Medicare for all, 80% support a Green New Deal, 55% support raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and you could go on. I believe Bernie's platform is actually closer to moderate than
well, I think people
would think.
support a lot of these plans until they see the cost of it. The idea of everybody having Medicare sounds wonderful until you have to pay for it. Green New Deal, the same thing.
Or see what it does. Take a look at Venezuela, what's happened there as far as socialism goes. I mean, people like the ideas, and then they see the reality of it, maybe not so much.
Well, yeah, and I think it's also important to point out that Bernie Sanders actually has never advocated for the Venezuelan system. In fact, he advocates for more of a social democratic system, right, similar to the Scandinavian model in Denmark or Sweden, for example.
So, great job there from Bryant Young. Again, this is hope. This is showing you, this is the next generation, or even the current generation. We have the incredible potential here to completely transform how both our media and our politics is done. And we are right now in the process of that. So with the media, you see all these progressive channels popping up on YouTube, all these progressive podcasts. And in terms of politics, you see politicians like AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and others. So there is on both fronts, in media and in politics, the transformation is beginning now. So if you get down, if you get negative about the news or negative about, the world in general, understand that things are changing. That doesn't mean you should sit back and just hope everything works out. No, get involved, try and help change things, but understand that all the signs right now are pointing to some potentially positive things for the future.